Hello and welcome to Crypto News, March 14th, 2026, and here's the top crypto news. We're going to start our episode today with Alibaba, which is also investing in cryptocurrencies and especially stablecoins. Let me tell you, Alibaba is kind of like eBay or Amazon in the US, but it has its roots in Asia. It's a titan there. And we learned that MetaComp, which is a company with roots in Singapore, said it has closed a funding round with Alibaba's support as the company expands into stablecoin payments infrastructure. The company managed to raise $35 million in 2 funding rounds in 3 months, and this company offers hybrid fiat and stablecoin payment solutions and access to traditional and tokenized wealth management products. So another giant is slowly entering crypto. Moving on to our current news, we're going to Ethereum, where there's been a lot of activity in poisoning addresses since the Fusaka upgrade, which, as you know from Crypto News, has dropped transaction fees on the Ethereum network a lot. However, these attacks have increased a lot, so in simpler terms, according to Etherscan, USDT transfers under $0.01 have increased from 4.2 million to 29.9 million, as it's much cheaper for criminals. And for those of you who don't know what a poisoned address is, we can use this as an example. As we can see from these addresses, we're going to go to the middle address in the center, which is marked in blue, and now I want to go to the bottom address a little bit to the right, which has the exact same address. I have to tell you that these two addresses are different, but they look exactly the same, and what changes is a number that is not visible because we don't see the full address. So what the criminals do is they send very small amounts to various random wallets. However, the addresses that are sent are almost identical to the ones that the user usually uses. And what they try to do is, if the user often sends to an address, they send a small amount to their wallet so that the address that looks like the address that the user often sends to shows up in the history. And if the user wants to send an amount, they might get confused and choose the criminal's address instead of the one that sent the money, because they are very similar, and so users will click on it, so be careful. The classics. Moving on, let's move on to XRP, which is set to do very well from an on-chain perspective, and more specifically, daily successful payments on XRPL recently hit a 12-month high, topping 2.7 million, up from around 1 million at the end of 2025, according to XRP's CAN data. The network is processing between 2 and 2.8 million transactions per day at a rate of 20 to 26 transactions per second. The value of tokenized real assets on the ledger has risen to $461 million, up 35% over the past 30 days, according to RWA.xyz. Stablecoin transfer volume over the same period reached $1.19 billion. Very good news that a network is up and running, and this will be reflected in the price tomorrow for those of you who are worried, but it is important to see what Bitcoin will do in the future. Let's go to Trump's currency, which has made 37.6% in the last 24 hours. And the main reason is, in yesterday's episode, for those of you who are interested, I can tell you that an unknown investor managed to earn $2.5 million in a few hours as he saw the crypto news and bet $7 million when Trump made the announcement and managed to profit from the rise of the currency. And since we are talking about rise, let's go to Hyperliquid, which has made 20% in the last day. And in general, Hyperliquid, as you know, is doing very well at the moment because there is a lot of activity on its network due to oil and war. However, in the last 24 hours, Mr. Arthur Hayes has come out once again and says that Hyperliquid can reach $150. However, before anyone gets impressed, I want to remind you that 5 months ago, the same person came out and made a presentation that Hyperliquid can make 126 times. And a few days later, as he had made these announcements and had increased the price of the coin and so on, he is the same person who sold all the coins to get this car here. So I don't want you to forget who this particular gentleman is. And let's go to our favorite cryptocurrency market with Bitcoin standing at $71,000. However, yesterday the price reached $73,000 and the core CPI came out on an annual basis, which was 3%. We expected 3.1% and they came out at 3.1%. However, as you know, we will not see a decrease in profits, not this month, but probably not the next one, either good or bad. That wraps up the top news for crypto today, March 14th, 2026. I'd like to remind you that the content you just watched is created for educational purposes only and should not be considered as investment advice, but rather as investment opinion. Please subscribe to the channel, leave a like, and feel free to comment. Take care, everyone, and have a good day.